Well, I think obviously goes without saying, disappointed in the loss. Felt we had 2 good weeks of practice and preparation, about as healthy as we could be going into the game. Weren't able to establish the run like we always have been able to do, to set up the pass, and it's going to start up front. That's the big challenge. I've seen the way our offensive line can play and has played. We got to get back to playing the way we're capable of doing. Defensively, can't play well 54 plays and not play well in 9 of those plays and give up as many big plays. Again, seeing the way that they've performed 3 out of 5 games, we got to get our up front guys on offense playing the way they're capable of playing, and our defense playing the way they're capable of playing. If we can do that, we'll get back on track.
You mentioned kind of up front on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
At first, on the offensive side, I don't want to characterize it as surprising, but what was the reaction just for you guys as a staff when you watched that film and kind of came to the realization that you weren't able to establish the run, and kind of what were some of the reasons for that?
Well, I think you have some breakdowns. One guy breaks down here. We just get a little bit loose on protection, or we're not in sequence together on some of the run schemes, and we had some leakage. We had some penetration. And you can't do that early on, especially because this is a fast team, and we had to start fast. And we had our opportunities. They get the ball first, they go down the field, we have an opportunity to get off the field, we don't do that, and then we stall on offense, and then next thing you know it's 14-0. But you can't start slow against this type of offense. You got to start fast, and we got behind, and when you get behind, it's play catch up.
How important of a week is it now for a guy like Gunner, who has been through practice and he's been able to watch film of him in practice, but how beneficial it can be for him to now actually have game film to kind of go back and have more proof of maybe what he needs to work on, or how much more comfortable he can be now after he's played a game?
Well, I think it's very important. Things start to slow down for him after the first, second, third series, start getting a little more comfortable. A lot of improving he did to do. Very pleased with some of the things he did do. And I know he'll just get better and better from week 1 to week 2, or from game 1 to game 2 for him. But you saw some really good things, some very positive things, some things he's got to get better at, but they're all correctable. But anxious to see how he's going to progress this week.
Defensively, the previous 2 games prior to South Dakota, you were able to create 7 sacks, which the 4 sacks against Eastern Kentucky, the 3 sacks against Eastern Illinois, those would have been both season highs in a game a year ago. You only had 2 games a year ago where you had 3 sacks or more in a game. So as you mentioned to your group, I've seen you be able to have success and be able to create pressure. What did you feel was the case on Saturday where that just wasn't seen and kind of allowed Austin Simmons to be comfortable and have the day that he did?
Well, I think you said it. Austin Simmons is a very good football player. You got to give them credit. They're a good football team. They run a great scheme. They're well coached. But you got to give them credit. They got an awfully good quarterback, and he made some things happen. He's hard to get to. He's elusive. He can beat you with his feet. Can beat you with his arm. He's a very good football player. So you got to start with them, giving them credit. But we're better than we performed. I thought we stuck on blocks way too much. We're able to cause havoc, up front. I didn't feel it like I felt it in the past. I know we're capable. Give them credit. They're a good offensive line, but we're much better in what we performed, and we'll get back on track this week. I'm convinced of it.
What do you respect most just about Coach Elliott and his team, and why, when you know you're going up against a team led by him, why it's going to be a big challenge?
Well, I think they're well coached. I think they're tough. They play extremely hard. But when you watch them play, they're very disciplined. They don't beat themselves. And when you watch them on offense, I love their running backs. I mean, they're physical. They run downhill. They'll punch you in the mouth up front. They got good skill. Quarterback's good thrower. Very manages the game well. But this is a blue-collar team. I mean, this is a tough football team. Defensively, they've always been like that up front. Physical, I like their secondary, safeties especially. Our physical will come downhill and hit you. But this is a tough, hard-nosed football team.
Has much changed for them knowing that they've lost a lot in terms of their quarterback and Sean McGuire from a year ago? Steve McShane was able to make plays as well. Isaiah LeSure was another name that we heard a lot during their time at Western Illinois. Now, schematically, are they still the same, just different pieces?
Exactly. They're not changing what they're doing. They're just getting better at what they're doing. And, they lost some good football players, but they got a lot of good football players back. But they got a system in place. They're consistent in what they're doing, and they're getting better. And this will be our biggest challenge. We're coming off a tough loss on the road and coming back home. And we've been in this position before. We had a tough loss opening conference last year with Northern Iowa and didn't respond. And we've got to respond. This is a big challenge for us.
You brought up that loss to Northern Iowa last year, which was a shutout. Was in Terre Haute, not on the road. But the next week, you had a really big challenge going up against a top 5 team in South Dakota State, and it wasn't a win, but you were able to give yourselves a chance to win the game. How much of that maybe are you bringing up with your group this week of saying, look, I know this past weekend probably got humbled a little bit, but we've been humbled before, and I've been able to respond after that?
Well, what I talked to him about was we did get humbled, and South Dakota, they beat us every which way. Very similar to the Northern Iowa game, but make no mistake about it, we went up to South Dakota State. I don't care what the score, we got beat, and I don't care what anyone tells anybody. Don't listen to the noise. You got beat, and we came back and played homecoming and got beat again to Missouri State. And that's the challenge. The challenge is we've got to respond and put the game behind us and move on. And that's exactly what the message was last night. We watched the film as we always do, and we learned from it. And now it's time to get on to game week.